This video is going to show you how to create 4-0. So this is not going to be a metric drawing, this is going to be a basic decimal drawing. So we're going to go ahead and start with a new standard IPT file. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go to Start 2D Sketch and I'm going to click on the XY plane. I go ahead and just move my origin down, that way I know my drawing is going to go this way. It gives me a little bit more room. I'm going to start by creating my very first line as a horizontal line, and I'm going to make that distance 3.25. Enter, and then the rest of this doesn't matter as much because we can always go back and modify this dimension. So you just need to create the basic shape that I'm creating here. Again, we can always go back and make modifications to this later on, and we will be adding some dimensions. I will be pausing this and adding all the dimensions and allowing you guys then to edit that. So just be aware it's about to pause, and then you guys will see what the finished sketch should look like. So you can take a look at these dimensions. These are the dimensions that you should end up having for your sketch. So just make sure that everything is fully constrained so you have no green. Everything has been turned this bluish purple. Once you have this done, you're going to hit Finish Sketch. You go ahead and hit Home, that way it zooms out. And now I'm going to extrude, and there's going to be a lot of things that you guys may assume that you already know what to do, but I'm going to be doing some things that are a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and hit extrude. I'm going to change this so it's a symmetrical extrusion, so we've got the same amount being extruded on either side. And then I'm going to change this extrusion depth from 1 to 2.5 and hit OK. Then we're going to be doing something a little bit different to create this next sketch. So I'm going to do Start 2D Sketch, and I'm going to be moving around inside of my 3D part. I'm going to right click and do Select Other. And you see it's giving me options to select other faces. I'm going to select Face 2, and it's going to be taking me really to the bottom. And then I'm going to do a circle, so you can either just do right click and do a circle, or you can just select the circle icon. I'm going to move until I see the center point, so it's going to be green, so the center point of this line is the midpoint of this line. I'm going to create a circle that is that entire length of that line. So I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, and you can see that it did place the circle on my base, so on the bottom part of this shape. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and extrude, so I'm just going to, inside of the circle, hit extrude. And we're going to do something a little bit different on this too. So we're going to select right here to selected face. So this is really great if you don't know what this distance is, which we know it's 0.5. I can just select this face, and then I can change this to join, and it's actually going to make the extrusion be the same height as where it would meet this face. So I can go ahead and hit the green check mark, and I've got that done now. Each time that a new feature is created, that feature is going to be displayed in the model tree. So you guys have seen this over here where we get multiple extrusions. And by default, Inventor is going to rename these so they're very generic. But whenever we start getting a lot more extrusions, and pretty soon we're going to have several extrusions, it's going to be smart to rename these. So I'm going to show you guys right now how to rename. If you just click twice slowly, not like double click, but click once and then click again, we can actually rename these. So I want you guys to be renaming these two extrusions. So we're going to name this face, and then I want to rename this circular end. And there can't be any spaces, so I have to do that little underscore right here. So once we've renamed those, we're going to go ahead and modify a couple things now. So we're going to select where it says base, and if you do right click, you can do show dimension. So this is another way to kind of like edit the sketch without actually having to go edit the sketch. So if we click on this 3.25, so I'm going to click on this dimension twice. So I'm going to just double click. I'm going to change this to 3 and hit the check mark, and you hopefully notice that nothing changed, like nothing automatically updated. We have to do something to make that update. And then this 2.5, so this was the extrusion. So instead of having to edit the extrusion, we can just click on this dimension where this 2.5 is, and we can make this 2. So we've changed now the 3.25 to 3 and the 2.5 to 2. And then if we go up here, right next to where this home icon is right here, if we click on this, it's local update. It's going to update. So you see it just updated and modified everything that I just made those changes to. So if you had like multiple things to modify, you could just again do right click and then do show dimensions, and you can mess with those dimensions and modify those. So and then you just hit the local update, and you're good to go. So once we have that done, we're going to do a couple more things. We're going to add a hole. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys an easier even way to do a hole than we saw with doing 3-0. So instead of doing our placement of linear, we're going to do concentric. And so what that means is that my circle for the hole that I'm about to create and the arc that I already have, they're going to have the same center point. So I'm going to click on concentric, and then I'm going to select the bottom of the shape, and then I'm going to select the arc. And then we're going to see that this is going to have the same center point now as this arc. I want to make this hole 0.75 in diameter. I hit the check mark, and it's good to go. I've got my hole exactly where I want it, and that only took a couple of seconds to do, as opposed to creating a new sketch and doing a hole that way. One more thing that we need to do is create a rectangular cut, so I'm going to go ahead and do Start 2D Sketch, and we're going to make a cut right here. So we're going to have rectangle, so I'm just going to right click, 2-point rectangle. I'm going to click somewhere on the top edge of that face, and then I can go ahead and add some dimensions. I'm going to make this dimension right here, so I'm going to go ahead and dimension that one more time. Make this dimension 0.5. I'm going to make this dimension right here 1, and I'm going to make the height of this now as 0.7. So I'm going to select this and make that 0.75, and then hit Finish Sketch. And then I'm going to go ahead and extrude. So I need to select what I want to extrude, and I want to cut this, and I want to go ahead and do through all. That way it goes through the entire shape. So we have that now as through all. I'm going to go ahead and change this to REC, so I'm going to go ahead and rename this RECT. That's rectangular cut. Click somewhere else. And then we're going to make one more modification to our base shape. So I'm going to just do right click and edit sketch. And so what I'm going to be doing now is adding a fillet. So I'm going to go up to fillet, the fillet icon, and we're going to make this fillet 0.25. So I'm going to go ahead and change that radius to 0.25, and then I can select this first line and the second line, and that's where I'm going to be able to create the fillet. So you can see that they're making this the tangent symbol. So it's making an arc that's tangent to those two lines. Now I can hit Finish Sketch, and it's going to add that curve, that fillet, for me. So I could have done that afterwards, like we can do with hole. I could have done a fillet here. Either way is going to work, just like we can do hole multiple ways, I can do fillet multiple ways as well. So the last thing that I'm going to show you guys how to do is to modify the material. So remember I told you guys that we could make this like wood or glass or cast iron. We're going to be making that modification now. So I'm going to go ahead, and since I've saved this as 4-0, since that's the drawing number, what I can do now is where this says 4-0, I can right click, select Eye Properties, and I'm going to go to Physical. So all these are different things, or different properties that relate to the drawing that we just created. I go to Physical, and right now the material is set as generic. So I'm not stupid to the point where I believe that you guys will not mess around and select different things to see kind of what they look like. So that's fine if you do want to like see what rubber looks like and see what these different things look like. But I want you guys to at least make sure that you do select this as aluminum. So you can see if we scroll up that we got several different types of aluminum. We're into the aluminum 6061. You can see that we now have mass and area and volume and a whole bunch of stuff that relates to this shape and the actual dimensions of the shape, and then also the material that we used here. So I can hit apply, and you see that it's going to apply, and it's going to make that a shiny and very different looking material. So again, now is the time, kind of, if you want to see what lead looks like, you can do that. You want to see what glass looks like, you can do that as well. And so all you have to do is apply, and you can actually see what the shape looks like once you've made that modification. How we're going to end, though, I want you guys to use iron, cast, so that's cast iron, hit apply, and this is how we're going to leave it. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that, and you guys can see now how this is going to look using cast iron. Also, right up here, right next to where it's got this little material property symbol, you could have changed the material here as well. So if you do modify and kind of mess around with the different types of materials, which is fine, just make sure that you go back to this one. This is the one that I will be wanting to see as the material for this shape. So anytime now that you see a material type next to the name of the drawing, you do need to change and will be expected to change the material of the shape. So now let's go ahead and put this on a sheet of paper so you guys can see how this should look and see how it's going to look now when we do the 3D and we make it shaded. So I'm going to open up a new drawing file, and I'm going to go ahead and pause this and make some modifications and then tell you guys what I made this. So now you can see how this is going to look on a sheet of paper. So I made these 3 multi-view drawings of a scale of 1 to 1, so it's full size scale. Then for the isometric, I just did the right click, edit view, change the scale to 3/4, and then made it shaded. And now we can see when we make it shaded, that actually is going to shade and show the material that it should be. So once you have that done, go ahead and dimension, add center lines, and make sure to include everything that you need for the title block. And this drawing is again going to be 3-0, and the name of this drawing is Saddle Bracket. So make sure that you add the title right here. So then once you have that all done, go ahead and upload to Schoology.